Hello and welcome to another episode of Harlem Stories. I'm your creator and host. I am Adam Feinberg and I am a real estate agent over at Elgren Forbes Global Properties. And, I primarily focus my business on Upper Manhattan. But I work all over Manhattan and, we can discuss that. But for the purposes of our podcast, Harlem Stories, we talk about all of the neighborhoods of Upper Manhattan, primarily north of 96th Street. And we talk about the interesting stories and the people and the architecture and all the things that are going on and things to do and see for Upper Manhattan. Today, I'm going to, and this is going to be a shorter episode, but I think that it's certainly an interesting one because it just kind of stands out. And actually, I know it's been used as a film location. But today we're going to discuss the Crypt of Hamilton Heights. So it sounds so spooky, especially as we record this in middle of October, right before Halloween. But no, this is not going to be released as a Halloween episode. But we're not going to release this for a little bit of a while. But I have to admit, I haven't been to many churches in my life. I grew up as a Reformed Jew, non-practicing, in a very Jewish neighborhood with every sect of Judaism and the occasional mix of every other religious group that we can imagine. But for the most part, it was a largely Jewish area. Moving to Upper Manhattan, it's given me a different perspective of these often stunningly beautiful buildings. So today we're going to talk about the Church of the Intercession. I briefly mentioned this church in at least one other episode. I'm sure I've mentioned it in others, but we're going to discuss it again briefly. And it's widely thought to be the finest example of Gothic Revival style architecture in the city, and it's part of the National Register of Historic Places, which is a division of the National Park Service. Today's episode, we're going to really focus more on the Crypt of Hamilton Heights, located on 155th and Broadway. This is actually the third church to occupy the space, designed by Bertram Goodhue, and it was built between 1911 and 1914. Surrounding it is the Old Trinity Cemetery, which covers the entirety of 4 square city blocks. I explored the crypt one day with some friends and were met by a guide that led us down a dark set of stairs. Once at the bottom, we were all impressed with the incredible space with vaulted ceilings and massive columns. We did see a wall of cremated remains, though the space was carved from rough stone with perfect acoustics, which brings us to one of the secrets of the crypt. It's been a regular venue for live jazz concerts from Death of Classical. And, you can go onto the website of Death of Classical and actually find out more information. But, a statement from them that I think was really kind of relevant to our episode today. We at Death of Classical understand that what we might be doing may seem a bit weird at first glance. Presenting classical music and opera concerts in crypts, catacombs, cemeteries, and other unusual venues, pairing them with food, drink, and spirits tastings. But we promise that our mission is pure, to breathe new life, so to speak, that's my language, but to breathe new life into art form that we love and to re-envision everything from programming to production to promotion in order to create deeply personal performances that change how people perceive and experience classical music. Now, I can tell you I've heard from several people that have attended these concerts, and they are fantastic. So I definitely recommend this group. Going back to their comments over here, in the few short years since Death of Classical was founded by artistic director Andrew Owsley, the response and acclaim has been unanimous, with the New York Times proclaiming that classical is alive and well and living in a crypt, with a series of intimate, charmingly creepy concerts that offer tightly focused programs from top-flight musicians. Our concerts, most of which sell out in moments, have been hailed as transcendent by Billboard, emotionally charged by Forbes, relevant to us at Al Glenn Forbes Global Properties, numerous and genre bending, The New Yorker, and with New York Magazine praising them as sensitively programmed events in which music and architecture almost meld, and the culture editor of Vogue simply describing a Death of Concert show as one of the most riveting and unusual chamber music performances of my lifetime. So, very cool experience situation over here. The Crypt has been widely used for events such as bands after parties coming from MSG, the Saturday Night Live after parties, and lots of other events. But before it became a cemetery and surrounding blocks, it was land owned by John James Audubon, the naturalist and artist known for his study of birds. Today, Audubon rests in this very same cemetery as where the Church of the Intercession is and where this crypt is located. In the 1920s, this cemetery space was scarce and in high demand. To create more room for burials, the crypt walls were prepared to hold cremated remains. This renovation made the church the first in the U.S. to have its own columbarium, a building with niches for storing funeral urns. Audubon's original home at 765 Riverside Drive at 157th Street is no longer there. However, the area is still known by many as Audubon Park, and there are several stunning and colorful, larger-than-life murals on buildings surrounding the Church of the Intercession that feature Audubon's beloved birds. And it's pretty cool. There's actually a website dedicated toward a walking tour of all of these buildings that have had murals painted on them of the birds in the area. Audubon actually is buried in Trinity Church Cemetery, and there's a large monument there in his honor. Others of Alfred de Orsay Tennyson Dickens, the son of Charles Dickens, author Ralph Waldo Ellison, the Astors, Elijah Jumel, Mayor Ed Koch, Jerry Orbach are among those that are buried in this cemetery as well. So very interesting over here, and the connection, and we talk about this in our Christmas Santa-related episode. The oldest continuing Christmas tradition in New York City. It's at a festival of the Church of the Intercession known as the annual Clement Clarke Moore Festival, as Clement Clarke Moore, known more popularly by his beloved poem, "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." The festival has been held for over 100 years on the Sunday before Christmas at 4 p.m. And we dive further into this in our Christmas episode. And it connects some of the dots of Upper Manhattan to the modern day image of Santa Claus. So, yeah, I really love that. It's also worth noting that the church contains cloistered gardens. So if you walked along the path and didn't know where you were, you'd have no idea that you were located in Manhattan. And for those that aren't familiar with the term, or you might have heard of it but don't know what it means, a cloister is intended to offer you seclusion, and that is certainly achieved here. So it's almost like this surrounded garden, and covered walkway that you see with the garden surrounding it. So on at least 4 sides, depending on the particular cloister, it's almost like this interior garden courtyard, and it just very tranquil and offers that I guess peace that they're looking for. And I know there have been a number of films that have filmed in this cloister section, the in and around the church. There have been numerous TV and films shot in this area, so it just gives you a sense of the church. And we go into a little bit more about the church and the history in the Audubon episode that we do for Harlem Stories. So I want to thank you for joining us today at Harlem Stories. This was a quickie episode, but still important to know this has you can actually see this awesome concerts there. Be on the lookout for it. But thank you for joining us for another episode of Harlem Stories. Please, if you listen on Apple Podcast or any other that offer ratings, please give us a thumbs up or as many stars as you can for giving you some creative and innovative content. Thank you so much. I'm your host of Harlem Stories, Adam Feinberg. Thank you for joining us, and we hope that you come back for more. Have a great day.